Just imagine being a young student, full of hopes and dreams, and successful in your academic life. Suddenly, your life took a tragic turn and shattered by a mysterious and malicious act. With a lot of information about this case, it has remained a mystery for the people, and especially the authorities. Until this day, the case is still unsolved. Zhu Ling, a brilliant chemist born on December 1973 in Beijing, China. She was known for her special intelligence and academic abilities from a young age. She was blessed with a better life and very optimistic about a future full of happiness. But she didn't know that the fate had something for her that she hadn't expected. The curse began to haunt Ling family in April 1989 after Zhu's sister disappeared during a hike trip with her classmates. 3 days later, her body was discovered after tragically falling down from the bottom of a cliff. Of course, it was a huge shock to the family, and especially for Zhu, because she was so close to her. After passing the tragedy of her sister, Zhu attended Tsinghua University in 1992, one of China's most prestigious educational institutions, where she pursued her studies in chemistry. Classmates described her as attractive, smart, and talented, with an interest in music and sport. At the end of 1994, she started showing strange symptoms, included severe stomach pains that she couldn't eat, with significant hair and weight loss. After being admitted to the hospital for several days, Zhu made a full recovery. She started gaining weight, and her hair started to grow back, so she was allowed to return to her university. 3 months later, on 1995, after her recovery, her old symptoms returned, but this time worse than before. Pain in her legs, blurred vision, temporary blindness. She went back to hospital to find out what's the problem. After several courses with doctors, her condition rapidly worsened more and more. She started suffering from loss of muscular eye control, and her face became partly paralyzed. Even the simplest things like drinking water became a hard challenge for her. 2 weeks later, with her situation only got worse, she fell into a coma. Since doctors didn't know how to treat her, or at least to diagnose her bad condition, her classmates posted an online letter on a number of internet Usenet groups describing her symptoms and asking for help with a diagnosis, and the responses were shocking. Over than 1,000 responses in 18 different countries. Most of the responses were saying that she was suffering from thallium poisoning. Thallium is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless heavy metal that's highly toxic to humans, best known as a metallic element absorbed through the skin. It's considered one of the deadliest poisons in the world. Specialists began analyzing a few of her hair to see how much of thallium poison was present, and the result was unexpected. The amount of thallium poison in Zhu's body was 10,000 times more than a normal person. There was no way she could ingest all the amount accidentally. With all these shocking results, Zhu doctors gave up. Doctors who have heard about her condition outside of China contacted, and they told them to treat her with Prussian blue, which is a solid material to absorb thallium. Finally, they were able to treat her and save her life. Zhu awoke from her coma after the treatment in August 1995. But, unfortunately, she wasn't the same person we knew her before, intelligent and talented. Her nervous system is completely destroyed. She lost the ability of walking. Her arms' muscles were weak. She became nearly blind, could not able to speak or even to say an understandable sentence. However, her future and quality of life have been taken away from her. Her condition has never been improved. In November 1995, Zhu discharged from hospital. Her family started asking who poisoned her. They fought for justice, seeking to identify the person responsible for the poisoning. After long investigations, it was found that the poison was placed inside her food. Detectives wondered who poisoned her and why they wanted to end her life in the first place. Detectives started investigating her dorm at the university. They found out at some point some of her items have been stolen, included a shampoo, a bath soap, and water glasses. Detectives knew later that only 20 laboratories needed thallium for their work, and only 200 people had access to thallium, so suspects list would be quite small. So, obviously, the main suspect is her dorm mate, Sun Wei. She had a good relationship with Zhu, and the important thing is, Sun was the only one who had access to thallium in the dorm. She was one of the 200 people at the university who have the official access to the poison. But the problem is, and it's so clear, that there is no good evidence after interviewing her. The police took no actions against her due to the lack of evidence. However, Sun Wei was the only suspect for them. On August 1998, the police closed the case and remains unsolved. In 2005, Sun commented online on the case and explained that the police cleared her of any suspicion and she was innocent and had no motive to hurt Zhu. By the time passed, Sun with no reason mentioned, she changed her name and legal date of birth and married an American and moved to the US. Zhu Ling's poisoning case received a good attention inside and outside China. But something mysterious will happen after 18 years of the incident. In September 2013, her parents received from an anonymous person a shocking letter. They will never forget it. Here are some of the words that came in the mysterious letter. To Zhu Ling's parents, recently the community has been speculating about your daughter again. As a person who knows a little about the case, I always felt that your daughter is wrong at the first place. If she didn't disturb other people's sleep, she wouldn't have been poisoned. The main thing in life is karma. Your daughter had been affecting the sleep of others for more than 2 years. The dormitory was in a state of collapse and couldn't tolerate it any longer. They only wanted to expel her from the dorm. In their own words, if this continues, we will get a nervous breakdown. Just to let you know, there was a case here in Los Angeles. A man's neighbor were making a lot of noise that he couldn't sleep. They didn't want to listen for a reason. So, with a gun, he killed them all. The court found him not guilty at all. He didn't spend a minute in jail. If the ones who poisoned your daughter were in the US, would likely with a big chance escape justice as well. You have to understand that your daughter was wrong in the first place. Even Tsinghua University didn't act so well to correct her behavior. They were wrong in the second place, and her poisoners in the third. All three parties were in fault. If they wanted to harm your daughter, would have done from the first try, because the first poisoning was ineffective, so they doubled the dosage in the second try. The result was unexpected. This wasn't what they wanted. They just wanted to make her daughter sick and repeat the year, so they could sleep well. Now, it's a few years later. Everyone is living in peace. I suggest to let the poisoners live well. If the whole world knows that your daughter is a public nuisance in the dorm, will you and your wife have shame? People describe how excellent your daughter was. For me, I see no excellence. A person who does what she wants, who speaks badly, who affects other people's sleep, who doesn't care about other people's feelings, has nothing to do with being called excellent. If your daughter respected her dorm and classmates, would she be suffering such a miserable life today? Your daughter failed so much as a human being. If there is an afterlife, you and your wife should first teach your daughter how to behave, how to respect people, treat people like the way you want to be treated. That's a true excellence. Monterey Park, Los Angeles, USA, May 31, 2013. According to what was stated in the letter, wasn't only one poisoner, but there was poisoners. Zhu's family handed the letter over to the police, but they didn't find the writer. In my perspective, Sun's still involved and considered the main suspect in the case. First of all, why and with no reason she changed her name and date of birth. And it's quite possible that one of the poisoners went to the US and sent the letter from there just to keep the attention on Sun. Or maybe the letter was only a hoax. Zhu Ling survived the poisoning, but the incident had a profound impact on her health. She was left paralyzed and lost her ability to speak and walk. On November 18, 2023. Zhu suffered a brain tumor attack with a fever of 39 degrees and fell into a severe coma. She died on December 22, 2013, at the age of 50. To this day, the case remains unsolved, and the poisoner or poisoners also remains unknown.